Welcome back to another weekly dose of anime people shenanigans, where this week a lot of English agencies are really going through it. Seriously, it feels like we can't go a few weeks now without an agency graduation or losing an entire agency itself. We'll start with V Reverie, which has had a few graduations over the last couple of weeks. First with Scarlet Flameheart, who announced her graduation a few weeks ago and is having her final graduation marathon tomorrow, and now with Estella Starfall announcing her retirement on her most recent YouTube stream. There's no official Twitter posts or anything at the moment, and based on what she says, I'm not even sure if we'll get one, but it's probably easier to just show you exactly what she said.
I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. I'm gonna be retiring. There's not gonna be an announcement. I'm not gonna announce anything big on Twitter or anything. I wanted to tell you Wizzlers that, oh, you don't need to wait for me anymore because I won't be here anymore. So I just want to tell you guys, like, oh, you don't need to wait for me. I'm dead.
For some background on V Reverie and why these graduations are kinda significant, V-Rev's been around for a couple of years, debuting the first gen back in 2022. Since then, they've debuted a few more gens, and as of late 2023 had debuted 9 total talents, including Salomon, who joined as an existing VTuber. Following this though, they had a frankly absurd number of graduations, losing 2 of their 3 Gen 1 members and the entirety of their second generation. With Salomon then going on hiatus for health reasons, this left Nova as basically the only active talent. Gen 3 debuted in April of this year to hopefully give V-Rev more than one active talent, especially since Salomon announced her graduation shortly after they debuted. Now, only 6 months later, 2 of their 5 Gen 3 talents are graduating, and Fury has been basically MIA for over a month. Now, I'm generally the guy to try and dissuade speculation about agencies, especially because I think a lot of the time when people stir up drama about them, it's the talents that end up suffering the most. And to be clear, graduations aren't inherently a bad thing. There's a bunch of valid reasons why someone would want to leave an agency without it necessarily being because the corporation screwed up. Just look at Ami's recent Kinda Not graduation. But I'd be lying if I said that this many graduations from one agency in a short amount of time wasn't a tad alarming. Especially because it looks like the majority of the graduated talents immediately jumped back into streaming as indies. And I try not to bring up people's alts or past lives for obvious reasons, but based on some of the tweets I've seen from the graduated members, things don't seem to be going too well over at V-Rev. It sucks for the existing talents like Nova though, since it does look like their management is just not great at helping out the talents. I am genuinely hoping they improve, but at this point I don't know how much I'm expecting. And the agency struggles just kinda keep on coming, with AN's Twitter account yesterday announcing that the company would be ceasing all of its operations as of the 3rd of November. It looks like Blaze, Miri, Sky and Amora will be continuing on with those identities as indies since they bought the IPs, but Zumi and Navi will both be graduating with final streams on the 2nd of November. The company itself will actually be linking to their new accounts on their old channels, which is pretty cool to see and also means we don't need another mod revolt. Merch orders and donathon goals will still be worked on up until the agency stops its operations, so if you want to grab some merch, now would be the time. I am personally kinda bummed to see AN go. I enjoyed the stuff they were putting out and the talents were super chill whenever I got to interact with them, even though my unofficial daughter Miri can be kind of a little gremlin child at times. And now on to maybe the biggest corporal mess up this week, that being Twitter, and no, I will not call it X, that's a stupid name. A ton of VTubers have started leaving the platform, or at least making new accounts on the alternate website Blue Sky, following some pretty alarming changes Twitter made this past week. The first change was an amendment to their terms and conditions, which would let Twitter use any content you post for, well, a lot. I'm not a lawyer, but a royalty-free license to use, copy, reproduce, process, adapt, modify, publish, transmit, display, upload, download, and distribute your content sounds pretty extensive. The primary concern of this, that they even point out themselves, is that this would allow Twitter to use any content you post to train their AI and machine learning models. This was previously something you could opt out of, and you can imagine with how against AI art most artists are, it didn't go over very well with them. With the VTubing community also being full of artists and other creators who may not love their work being used for Twitter's AI, we saw quite a few members of the community kinda ironically tweeting about their dissatisfaction with the term changes. This wasn't helped by Twitter's next strange decision, which was changing the block function to not actually block people. Before, people who were blocked wouldn't be able to see or interact with your posts at all, basically removing you from their feed entirely. Now they'll still be able to see your posts but won't be able to interact with them. Well, obviously getting around a Twitter block was never exactly hard. This seems to remove one of the main functionalities of the block button, which was to protect against harassers and stalkers, which if you've ever been on VTuber Twitter, you'll know they get quite a lot of those kind of people annoying them. Also, well, again, I'm not a lawyer, I have seen some people say that this could lead to Twitter getting removed from certain countries that require a functional block feature on all of their apps. Overall, this week has probably seen one of the biggest exoduses from Twitter to Blue Sky, to the point where I actually think the site temporarily went down from all of the new people. Personally, I'm skeptical of how much this will actually change in the long term. I've seen a few of these Twitter walkouts over the last few years, and in general, a few months down the line, everybody's back on Twitter, just slightly less happy. Blue Sky does seem pretty cool though, basically being Twitter without a lot of the more toxic elements. I made one just in case anyway, so I guess we'll see how it's doing in a few months. Now onto the debuts and outfits of the week, where not every agency is having a rough time. Idol debuted their third EN gen Wildfire that we talked about last week. Idol's kinda known for having some incredible model designs, and this gen definitely lives up to that. I personally love the pirate design, it's very Sea of Thieves-esque. The links to them will as always be in the description if you want to check them out. I still have no clue why they're called Wildfire, though I guess I could have missed that. It's kinda hard to keep up with everything that happens during a debut. VShojo's Matara celebrated her 1-year anniversary with a new model debut to kick off her subathon, followed by a bunch of announcements including a 3D model teaser and her joining the WME talent agency. Hololive had a few debuts this week, with Kobo showing off her new 3.0 look and Ollie celebrating her birthday with a 3D live showing off her new 3D outfit. Doobie 3D teased her upcoming debut, which is set for the 25th of October. Takahata showed off his new model, which honestly has some of the best rigging and facial tracking I've seen in ages. Junk also had his re-debut, which kicked off his re-debut-a-thon. Ushio tweeted this silhouette as a teaser for something. Ilara announced her upcoming debut, set for the 2nd of November, and Yomi debuted her Halloween outfit. We've got 16 new talents coming from Nexus. Aeon's Blaze showed off her new chibi model, she just like me for real. And from Niji Sanji we had a 3.0 brush up for Victoria, and Scarlet showing off the new outfit she teased last week, which ended up being a goth outfit. I can still hear chat's neurons firing. Now for the events and releases of the week, we had a bunch of Halloween events announced, with DK announcing a Halloween game show, Spectra announcing a spooky karaoke relay, Production Kwai announcing and starting their 13 Days of Halloween event, and V4 Mirai posting this schedule for their upcoming Halloween streams. Vex announced that she'd hopefully be returning from her hiatus this December. Pillow Deer raised over $10,000 for the Children's Defense Fund. Digital Dropouts tweeted this teaser for some upcoming debuts on the 25th, and Yuria has returned to full-time streaming and is starting her 3-year anniversary subathon. Vialure Strani had a pretty successful donathon, resulting in Vialure announcing that their 2nd generation is in production. Dokibird and Oversight Esports are coming together to run a VTuber Apex tournament on the 30th of November. Lucid Multimedia opened up their auditions. Unnamed dropped this singing project with over 700 participants. Kason celebrated her 3rd anniversary, and Merryweather showed off his gold play button. The VTuber Awards announced that it would be returning for 2024, once again hosted by Philian, who also held a VTubers Got Talent event this week. Katie was revealed to be in the upcoming VTumbler VTuber game. Bao dropped a cover of Fukuro. Alban Nox released his new original song. Hololive's Gigi dropped this cover song, and Idol's Tonya was the official singer for this song White Shirt from Nike. Nike? I don't know. Now onto the weekly drama and graduations and stuff, where we've kinda already covered a lot of the big ones in AN and VREV, but not all of them. Bond Live AN announced that they'd be shutting down their YouTube and reality branches. Their upcoming Irium division, which is set to be the first VTuber agency to join the Irium streaming app, will continue as normal in preparation for their debuts this November. This app has been a thing in Japan for a while, but is just now creating a US version, with Bond Live looking to be the first agency to use it for its streams in the EN sphere. It could be that they shut down the other branches to focus in on this new platform. They say in their announcements that the talents that wish to continue on as indies will be able to do so at least that's something. Wactor, who if you don't remember rebranded to 910 Inc. to try and avoid the horrible reputation they'd pretty deservedly earned, put out this tweet and video earlier this week. It looks like they're attempting to find new members to take over the models and channels of their previously graduated talents, kinda like they already did with Leah. This is generally pretty frowned upon in the VTubing scene, since taking a channel and community grown by a person that you likely mistreated and then just pawning it off on another person is pretty sickening. It's the kind of thing that you could maybe accept in time if it was literally any other agency doing it, but Wactor is Wactor, and they're basically the boogeymen of the VTuber scene at this point. They've lost literally all of their credibility, and honestly I'm kinda surprised they're still continuing operations. Mr. Underhill took to Twitter to announce that he'd be graduating, with his final stream happening on the 2nd of November, and also as a quick update to the Ina thing we talked about last week, she has made it back home and has returned to streaming. She elaborated a bit more on the situation on stream, though obviously couldn't say too much about the specifics. She did confirm that the issue was with her working in Japan and that she will be returning soon, but that she just won't be able to work while there. It sounds like the whole thing is a logistical nightmare, and I do hope she's able to get it all sorted out, though from what I know about Japanese paperwork, it can be kind of a nightmare to deal with. And that should do us for another week. I'd like to thank all you guys for the support after last week's GamerSupps announcement. A bunch of you guys used the code, which I really do appreciate. Also, thanks to all my members as usual, and as I say every week, if I missed anything this week or you want me to cover anything next week, let me know down below or hop in the Discord. I'll hopefully catch you all next week.